सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये च कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु थैंक यू सो मच
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that recitation. Now I'll offer my respectful obeisances to my spiritual master. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shiyati Bhakti Dhiranam Damadareti Namine Yati Shri Bhakti Tirtasya Ganabhavana Ratine Sarvada Sarva Bhaktanam Savaraksa Pradayine Shri Radhe Krishna Gauranga Gayasi Sarvada Prabhu Nityananda Kripamurte Pranamami Puna Puna. Jai Hare Krishna. Once again, very happy to be with all of you here together. So today we are covering Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4. Text. What was the text again? Text 7, right? 7 and 8. Okay, so someone can try and read the Sanskrit, then read the translation, and then we'll move to the next. So someone can volunteer from the chat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. I can do text 7 and then other devotees can do the other.
Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Mayu Udevate Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Naishtiki Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is Vidura's approaches Maitreya, and today we are on text 7. Shyama vadatam virajam parshantaruna locham durvis chaturbir viditam pita kausham bharena cha. Shyama avadhatam, beautiful with black color. Virajam, formed of pure goodness. Prashanta, peaceful. Aruna, reddish. Lochanam, eyes. Durbhi, by the arms. Chaturbhi, four. Viditam, being recognized. Pitta, yellow. Kausa, silken. Ambarena, with garments. Cha, and. Translation. The Lord's body is blackish, but it is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and very, very beautiful. His eyes are always peaceful, and they are reddish like the rising morning sun. I could immediately recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his four hands, different symbolic representations, and yellow silk garments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So Yeah, today I'm going to be asking more questions rather than speaking. We're going to try and be more interactive. So, this is a very beautiful description of the Lord's appearance, of the Lord's form. So, can anyone explain, or according to the people on the chat, according to the devotees, why is it that we find so many descriptions of Krishna's bodily features, of Krishna's appearance in the Shrimad Bhagavatam? According to what you're thinking or what you've heard, what would you think is the answer to this? So that's a question to all of you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I will. I think because he is also a person, so that's why it is mentioned so many times how beautiful he is and all his beautiful features, Prabhuji.
Thank
Some
you.
people think that he is void, but he's not. That's why. Hare
Hmm.
Krishna.
Thank you. So Mataji has said that because he is a person, and therefore a person has characteristics. Thank you. That's a very nice answer, correct? Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can probably try. So if we know what the Lord looks like or how the Lord looks like, then we can concentrate on his specific features.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So if we know how the Lord looks like, then we are able to concentrate, able to meditate more on his form, pure. So by meditating on the form of the Lord, we are also purifying ourselves. Now one of the Prabhus has to try.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was thinking why different ways with different conceptions of God, of the Lord. I was thinking because of in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have many people who are intimately connected or saw him. So they have different perspectives. Like Uttama, we have Narada, we also have Vidura. It's many people seeing the same person will come and describe him differently, however beautiful he is, but in a very unique, different way.
Okay, thank you. So that's a nice angle that this is the expression of the devotee's pure love of Krishna. And one of the qualities of a devotee is that they are poetic. So you can see here that they are explaining that Krishna's eyes are always peaceful and they are reddish like the rising morning sun. Very poetic, isn't it? So you can clearly see that this is someone's expression, someone's appreciation of the transcendental beauty of Krishna. Thank you for that. Someone else want to try? Anybody else? Okay, thank you. So all of the answers that are given were correct, and the point that I was arriving at is, generally speaking, in the material world, when there is something which is seemingly outside of our experience, how do we get to develop desire for that? Okay, I'm seeing there's another point that has come to drive the point home that he is a personality. Thank you. Yes, we always emphasize that Krishna is a personality, he's a person. So thank you for that, Indusa Mateji. So now the point that I was arriving at is, in the material world, when there is something which is not within our immediate experience, how do we usually acquire information about that experience, about that product, about that person? it is through hearing about it from someone else who has experienced this person or who has experienced whatever activity it is. And simply by hearing, then we develop the desire to actually experience face to face. So this should be the effect of attentive hearing, number one. That attentive hearing, if the speaker is bona fide and the listener is bona fide, it should inspire one to want to practice. The completion of hearing is practice. So if someone is listening to a lot of katha, but there is no application in their life, then that hearing is not yet complete. So we will get to see a lot of descriptions of the Lord. And actually, I was thinking today when I read this that by hearing, we are able to appreciate the Lord's beauty more than even when we see a picture. Because when we are reading about the Lord's beautiful features, our mind is actively engaged in meditating on those features. Like this line about his eyes, which are always peaceful and are always reddish, struck me because before, or in other pictures, you'll also see that Krishna's eyes are very white. But in some pictures, you'll see that there's a bit of red on the corners of Krishna's eyes. And what is being described here is this picture here of Lord Vishnu. You can see yellow silken garments, 4 arms. So this is the power of reading about Krishna's beautiful form, that we're able to really appreciate it more. So that's why it is said that the devotees see through the ears. When you're reading these beautiful features of Krishna, and when you see the paintings of Krishna or the deity of Krishna, you get a different. Can move to the next text. Someone from the chat can read.
Yeah, okay, let me read. Uh, Vama Urava Deshritia Dakshinagriya Saroruha Apashrita Bakasvatam Akrasha Takia Pipala. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord was sitting. Yes, the Lord was sitting, taking rest against a young banyan tree, with his right lotus foot on his left thigh, and although he had left all his household comforts, he looked quite cheerful in that posture. Very the purport, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
The purport by His Divine Grace, Prabhupada Ki Jai. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, the Lord sitting posture, keeping his back against the newly grown banyan tree, is also meaningful. As Vata, the banyan tree, is so called because the tree does not die very quickly. It continues to live for many, many years. His legs and their energies are the material ingredients, which are 5 in all: earth, water, fire, air, and sky. The material energies represented by the banyan tree are all products of his external potency and are therefore kept on his back. And because this particular universe is the smallest of all, the banyan tree is therefore designated as small, or as a child. Tiaka Pipalam indicates that he had now finished his pastimes in this particular small universe. But since the Lord is absolute and eternally blissful, There is no difference between his leaving or accepting something. The Lord was now prepared to leave this particular universe and go into another, just as the sun rises in one particular planet and sets in another simultaneously, but does not change its own situation. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this is also another nice description of Krishna. You know, this is after he had this is after the war, after the mass killing at the battle between Arjuna and Duryodhan, and after those demigods who had come to assist him in this pastime, he arranged for them. They got drunk and they all somehow magically finished each other. Yeah, it looks chaotic, but such is the drama of Krishna. It's not a drama without drama, is it really? So Krishna arranged for this pastime to end in that way. And you can see him being the master orchestrator, you know, just sitting under a banyan tree, very carefree, very chill. You know, if you read the description, you can understand his mood. You know, it's saying he had his right foot on his left thigh. So everyone should try to do that right now. Put your right foot on your left thigh and lean back. How do you feel? You know, it's like a very kind of like, I've finished my work. Now let me cool off. You know, the orchestrator has finished his work and now he's cooling off. So we're getting a deeper meaning in here. But yeah, also Srila Prabhupada says here in the translation that he looked quite cheerful in that posture. So it means the Lord was pleased with the drama that was now coming to an end. He was satisfied with the pastime, and now he was just relaxing before he finally disappeared from this universe. So now we're being explained to here that there is a deeper meaning to the young banyan tree that he was leaning up against. So the banyan tree has been likened to our universe, which is the smallest universe. Now, this is just another exhibition of Lord Krishna's unlimited potencies, because maybe sometimes when we're reading, we're used to hearing these pastimes, but we don't take a minute to digest it. When we're talking about a universe, we're not talking about planet Earth. We're talking about several planets and several galaxies. Yeah. Out of all of the universes, ours is the smallest. And now Krishna was done and he was going to go to another universe and continue his pastimes. So we should understand also the potency of the process that we're practicing, because this same Hare Krishna mantra that we're chanting here within the our marginal planet, which is the planet between the heavenly planets and the lower planetary systems, this Hare Krishna mantra is still being chanted even in the higher planetary systems. And actually, the demigods are desirous of coming to this planet so that they can be able to perfect their bhakti and go back home to Godhead. Because in this material world, there is not so much facility for enjoyment. We don't have such strong and mystical bodies like the demigods have. Therefore, it is quite difficult for them to be truly focused on Krishna. But within this planet that we are in, one can fully take shelter of Krishna because we have constant reminders. We have birth, death, old age, and disease in a very intense way. And this material world is full of problems. So, therefore, anyone who is intelligent will take shelter of Krishna. Anyone who is fortunate will take shelter of Krishna. And in this way, within a short span of life, you know, we are not living for like tens of thousands of years like the demigods. So within our short life, if we become very sincere and surrender, guess what? Within 60 years, within 70 years, we'll be back in Godhead. That's the beauty of the Earth planet. So we are just appreciating the energies of Krishna here, that Krishna has innumerable universes. If you read in the first canto, the first chapters is explaining about how Krishna creates the materials for creation, and how from his pores, from Vishnu's pores, so many universes come out. Yeah, when he breathes out, so many bubbles are created, and those are universes, not planets, but universes. Within a universe, there's several planets and several what is it called, constellations. So I'd just like to ask a quick question. Is it possible to ascertain the number of pores on a body? Uh, Mugo, you're doing medicine. Maybe you can help us here. Is it possible to count the number of pores on the skin?
Yeah, there are too many, Prabhuji. I mean, even the hairs that grow from from those pores, you can't
Yeah.
even count them.
Yes. So, in short, then the universes are unlimited. There's so many different worlds, and we get to hear about some of them in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, and we're just left in awe at how much provision Krishna has made, how much energy really Krishna has. Because recently I was discussing with one of my Shiksha gurus, His Grace Harinam Seva. He was explaining to me that there are lower subterranean heavenly planets. So he was explaining to me that these are planets of extremely materialistic people, but these planets still have a very high standard of sense gratification. But guess what? They don't have sun. They don't have a sun. So, like, they have so much facilities for enjoyment, so much advancement, but there's no light. The light that comes in that planet comes from, they have snakes which have jewels on their head that glow. And that is how their planet is lit, through the jewels from a snake's head. So it's very interesting that Krishna has made arrangements for all different varieties of consciousness, all different varieties of living entities. So it is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam that there are living entities everywhere. There is nowhere that living entities are not present. Within the sun, we have living entities. Even just above us, it is explained just above, the highest point where a bird can fly. At that point, we have the planet of ghosts, the ghostly planet. So even within our body is full of worms. There's always worms, there's germs. So even within the aquatic species, there's several thousands of species living there. So we should understand this is the potency of Krishna, that he is the one who has created facility for all of these variegated types of consciousness, and he is the one maintaining all of us. So this is one of his inconceivable potencies, that somehow he is maintaining everything without struggle. Now, towards the end, towards the end of this purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining something very important, that for the Lord, there is no difference between his living or accepting something. And now he was prepared to leave the universe and go into another, just as the sun rises on a particular planet and sets in another simultaneously, but does not change its own situation. So, this is actually also a description of a pure devotee of the Lord, especially when we are speaking about our very dear gurus, because we must be aware that at some point our spiritual masters are not going to be present with us in the physical form. But here we must understand that there is no difference for them. Their appearance and the disappearance, so called disappearance, is both transcendental. So, why is this? Because when they appear, they are appearing to carry out the mission of Krishna, to carry out the mission of the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, similarly, when they disappear, they're continuing wherever they're going to continue their devotional service. And for them, there is no difference because a pure devotee is only concerned with their service. Prahlad Maharaj prays and he explains that the devotees of the Lord, they don't even care if they're going to hell, but they are very keen that their devotional service does not stop. So, having this understanding, we should also be very conscious that yes, there is no difference between the appearance and the disappearance of one's spiritual master. But in the preliminary stage, it is very important for us to be able to cultivate that strong relationship with the Guru before the Guru leaves physically, because this relationship is what is going to help us to continue following their instructions and to serve them in the form of Vani or the instructions. Anyways, we understand that following the instructions of the Guru is higher than the physical association, but that physical association can also not be ignored, especially in the beginning stages of devotional service, because that is how the relationship is created. When someone is able to serve their Guru and interact with them, reveal their difficulties, then that strong bond is created. That very strong faith in the Guru is created. And at the time when the Guru will leave their body, the disciple will not experience any separation because the relationship will be strong and they will be using their life to carry out the will or the desire of the spiritual master. And this is the responsibility of any mature disciple. A mature disciple lives in the mood of the spiritual master and understands the heart of the spiritual master. The heart of the disciple and the spiritual master is one, and therefore their life becomes successful because inevitably they will be able to please their spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada was a perfect example that he only met his guru a few times, not many times really, but because his heart and his guru's heart was one, it did not matter how long it took him, but he executed the order of his spiritual master, and therefore all of us are benefiting from that. So we can see even simply from Srila Prabhupada's life that actually serving the instructions of the spiritual master is higher than having the physical association. So in the case where maybe someone's guru has already departed or they are not having the facility or opportunity to have regular association with the guru, then this disciple has to now actually apply all of these spiritual technologies. Now this spiritual life has to become deeper, that they have to really dig deep and try and see what is the mood of my guru, what makes my guru happy, what was his mission, what was he trying to achieve, what was the most important thing that he would have wanted for me to do. If one is able to think in this way and act on that, then also the guru reveals more to them through the heart. And you remember we've discussed before that the connection with the disciple and the guru is spiritual. It's not tied down to any physical constraints. And I remember giving my experiences of having dreams. And many devotees have had this experience. Even Srila Prabhupada, Before he took sannyas, he explains that his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was appearing in his dreams, and he was telling him that he should take sannyas, and Srila Prabhupada was refusing. He was saying that he was so terrified, but finally he had to accept the call. So this is the nature, the nature of getting a call. When you get a spiritual call, you can choose to ignore it, but it will come back. So, anyways, Srila Prabhupada was explaining that he felt terrified. How can I leave my family? How can I leave my children, my wife, and all of these things? But because he decided to surrender to his guru, because of his sincerity, he got all the mercy and he got all the help that he needed to be able to execute the order of the guru. So the guru does not give any orders, he does not give any instructions which the disciple is not capable of carrying out. If we are looking at ourselves based off of our own capacity, our own strength, then we should understand we are not going to measure up. But the qualification for mercy is to act without hesitating. When one gets an order from the spiritual master, if you act without hesitating, then this is humility. Humility means I understand that I do not have any qualification, but because of your kindness, that you're giving me this opportunity to grow in my devotional service, I'm going to act. And my prayer is that you will act through me. You will use me as a tool. You will use me to do this service because personally, I do not have the strength. So this is really humility. Humility is not when we say, "Oh no, Prabhu, I can't do this seva because I'm not qualified. I can't do this and that because I'm not qualified." This is not humility. It's just another form of low self-esteem, or what's the word? Inferiority complex, or just flat out laziness. Sometimes we use that as an excuse because we just don't want to get out of our comfort zone. So, the dear devotees, the appearance and the disappearance of Krishna is no different, and neither is the appearance and the disappearance of the pure devotee of Krishna different. It is the same, it is glorious, because at every stage they are only increasing, they're only creating more pastimes. If you look at the life of Srila Prabhupada, the way he left was in style, really. He was still doing the transcriptions, he was still dictating Shrimad Bhagavatam. It's very amazing. Sometimes people want to see a lot of mystic activities, like, floating or becoming smaller than the smallest. But we ignore such unbelievable activities that um, a personality on their deathbed, just about to leave their body, is still engaged in devotional service, is still engaged in translating Shrimad Bhagavatam. You can imagine how much pain someone endures during the process of leaving the body, but because of their fixedness in devotional service, one is above that. And this is really amazing, and that is actually a perfect yogi. You can understand the level of a devotee by how they leave their body. So we can see it in the life of Srila Prabhupada, uh, in the life of recent saints who have also left their body, like His Holiness Kadamakanana Swami, even His Holiness. Yeah, there's so many others, but if you study how they left their body, like for His Holiness Kadamakanana Swami, I read from one of his disciples' journal. He had shared with me that in his last days he was not eating anything at all. He was not eating for days, maybe just drinking water a little bit, but he was still chanting his rounds. He was chanting in the mind. He was taking his bead bag and still chanting in the mind. And we all know that his last word before he left his body was mission. So again, the theme of continuing service when they're coming or when they're leaving is very evident that these personalities, their devotional service is uninterrupted. So we must make a very great effort to serve this type of personalities, to serve our gurus. When we have the privilege of the physical association, this is the greatest treasure we can have, and we should develop that very strong eagerness to be able to follow their instructions to the letter, to be able to understand their heart, to be able to understand their mood, so that we can attempt to get some of their mercy, which will help us to go back to the spiritual world and get the love of Krishna. Ultimately, we always have to remind ourselves the goal of Krishna consciousness. We always have to remind ourselves why we came here in the first place. Otherwise, it's very possible to uh, lost, get lost in just doing the process. So one has to regularly remind themselves. So, like for myself, today is the day that I got initiation. So usually on this day, I reflect that since I got initiated, what has changed? And usually I get surprised about how much has not changed. And therefore, you go back and start praying more and seeing what you can adjust. So on this day also, my prayer is that I can develop a very strong relationship with my spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, so that my heart and his can be one before he leaves his body and even after he leaves his body. So I'm praying for everyone here that the same can be manifest in all of our lives. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhakta Mugo, you are muted.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you so much, Your Grace Samadashi Prabhuji. It's such it's a really, really, really great nectarian of these two verses, starting with really having this great servitude towards the Guru, which you said is the greatest service. And really happy, I don't know whether to say happy. I once told an initiated God sister that we start our human life when we get initiated. Like now she has been born. For if before initiated, we are not yet humans. We are just like two-legged animals, with intelligence. But after initiation, we become. So for me, somebody like me, I'm not yet born, and she was born on that day of initiation. So for you, today is like happy birthday to you. It's really a very important day. And thank you for sharing such reflections with us. And I hope we can try to get that servitude attitude towards our Guru and also to the preeminent Guru, Srila Prabhupada in general, and that is also ISKCON as a general, and also that aspect of having the humility, because humility it really hit me that we are not really qualified to do anything in ISKCON or any service to anyone, to our gurus, but that is not an excuse not to do service. It has really hit me that, just I need to up my game and take more responsibilities, even on a personal level. Yeah, and thank you so much about your reflections. Yeah, I have no question, and I really liked the class. Thank you. I'd like to open up to anyone with any other reflection, comments, or question. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for an excellent class and discussing the various aspects and how Krishna is so merciful that he provides for everybody in not only human form, but the various other forms, like even in the hottest place, like even in the sun. I haven't been to the sun, but I have been to Baringo and Gugori. And in the hot springs, there are organisms, there are these aerobic bacteria living there. So I can believe it.
Yes.
And even in places where it is very cold, like Iceland and those places, there are still some microbes that have adapted to those conditions. So we can see the greatness of Krishna on this planet itself. We don't even have to go out, and how
Yes.
merciful he is. So thank you for pointing that out, and also our relationship with our guru and developing the humility. I feel I do so much, but I forget that it is not me who does it. It is my guru and Krishna's mercy that allows me to do all that. So thank you for reminding that, and I especially need to be reminded that every day about it. So I don't have any questions, but I think Panchalikar Mataji has a question. Mataji, kindly unmute and ask the question. But thank you. It was an excellent session today.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful session as always. Just a reflection on Guru, what you taught us today about. It's wonderful to have a physical, when the Guru is in this material world, to develop that connection with the Guru, but also be prepared in advance when the Guru is not with us, and how following the instructions of Guru is the most important, and how that actually is so very dear to Krishna as well. And it just reminds me of um, a real life pastime from quite a while ago about this Guru parampara. If with your permission, if I have your permission, I can share that. I'm not sure if I can be heard.
Hare Krishna, yes, you have been heard, and kindly continue.
Okay, I think Prabhuji's present. So this is about not just it's not just followed through us and Sanatana Dharma. It is the eternal religion. It is the eternal instructions of Krishna to follow the words of Guru. And it reminds me of the pastime which I also heard about Swami Vivekananda. I'm not sure if anyone's heard about him. So he was a sannyasi in India, and he had his guru, but he was the person who actually went to America, and he delivered a speech in 1893 in the World Parliament of Religion. So all the people from various religions were invited to that gathering, and Vivekananda was there, and he was very young. It's the first time he was actually very much like Srila Prabhupada. Although he was slightly younger, and he was quite afraid to actually go there and meet lots of people in the world of the world. In the Parliament of Religions, and he gave a speech over there, and it was very, very popular, and the rest is history. I'm sure you will be able to it's very much publicized. But what was really, really interesting was the pastime that as he was giving the speech, and it mesmerized everybody, he just spoke the first few words, and there was applause all around, and he became very popular, and he was able to speak about Sanatana Dharma after that. But what was really interesting was, as each speaker was speaking, at that time there was no photography. we are talking about, 1893. So there was a person who was drawing the picture of each person who was giving the speech. And as Swami Vivekananda, as he was giving the speech, and after his speech, this person who drew his picture, he came up and he showed the picture to Vivekananda, and it showed Swami Vivekananda's picture, and on his forehead there was a hand, and there was a hand as if, a hand of kind of blessing, a hand that was on the forehead. And so Swami Vivekananda asked the person that, whose hand is this? My hand, you've got both of my hands here, in front of me. So why did you draw that hand? So that's not real picture. But the person who drew his picture, and this is real story, real life. It's not fiction. And he said that, whilst you were speaking, and as I was drawing, I could see this hand on your forehead, as if someone was blessing you. And so that's when Vivekananda realized that's the blessing of his guru, because he was so nervous, but he was given the instructions to propagate Sanatan Dharma, to talk about, how the real purpose of religion is to bring people together, not harm each other, not fight against each other. And it called for religious tolerance and end to fanaticism. So that was what the instructions that were given to him by his guru, and that is what he was talking about: to bring people together, to bring people from all around the world together through Sanatan Dharma. And as he was speaking, he was nervous, but he had the blessings and mercy of his guru, and so. And he kind of, his self-reflection was that I was only able to go up to the podium and speak because I had the mercy and blessings of my guru, and that was captured by the person who drew. And I think there is a picture. There was a book that came out, and that picture is also in the book of Swami Vivekananda with that hand on his forehead. The person who drew the picture drew that and submitted that photograph. So it just reminds us again that without the mercy and blessings of our gurus, we really wouldn't be anywhere. If the guru is, if guru wants, because the guru, as you rightly said, Prabhuji, the guru is able to read us. The guru is like Paramatma. The guru, because the guru relates to the Paramatma, and the Paramatma is in all of us. The guru knows what is in our hands, and the guru can give us Krishna Prem when the guru thinks we are ready for Krishna Prem. Otherwise, we will not get it. So it's just so important that we really follow the instructions of our guru. Sometimes we take them as mortals, but they really are not. And that is something which we really forget many a time. So just your words and your teachings reminded me of this beautiful pastime. So thank you once again, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class.
Thank you very much for sharing the nice part time. Just to encourage everyone again that there is no question of failure. Our only worry should be how to follow the instruction of the spiritual master. That's what we should be anxious about. We should be
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
about
You're breaking up a little bit.
failure or success, because the failure or success, that is up to the mercy of the Guru, because our spiritual advancement is fully dependent on blessings, on mercy of the Guru and the pure devotees of the Lord. You see, I was even thinking about it today, that in the material world, when someone wants to be famous, they'll try and befriend a famous person in the hope that this famous person will also make them famous, or befriend a rich person. Sometimes they might even do some services for them in the hope that they will also become rich. When someone is very knowledgeable, we want to urge that knowledgeable person. Yeah. Okay, what's the last thing? Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mukha, can you hear me now?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think your internet is not allowing us to listen to you properly. And we are almost about to exhaust our time. So, Dr. Mugu, kindly take over, and Eastern Prabhu, you can end the session for today. Hare Krishna. Eastern Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I don't know if I can be heard clearly.
Yes,
Yes, you are. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. The class was so good. I understand. I see a lot of good things that the mentor today has been talking to us about, and yeah, I appreciate him for taking his time to take us through the verse for today, the two verses. And yeah, I hope that everyone at least got something to take back from the class. And I also appreciate all the assembled devotees for attending the class and also receiving the nectar of the holy names. Thank you all for attending. I will also ask all of us to unmute to chant a round of the Hare Krishna mantra, the glorification of His Grace, Samadashi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Rama,
Om
Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
kripa sindhubhya eva cha
Sindhubhya eva cha
patitanam
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Namaha.
namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
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 Samadarshi Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
All- To all assembled devotees, jai.
Jai.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare
Srinath
Krishna.
Grantraj,
Hare
Grantraj
Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Mataji's Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mugu, for
Hare
starting this
Krishna.
session. Hare Krishna.
Yes, you had already started.